The rain had just stopped when Alex Parker locked up the small grocery store where he worked part-time nights. His back ached, his hands smelled faintly of cleaning supplies, and all he could think about was how much he wanted to collapse into bed. But as always, when he reached the small apartment and found his daughter Emma asleep on the couch with her school books open, his exhaustion softened. At 32, Alex carried more weight on his shoulders than he ever thought possible. 5 years had passed since his wife died in a car accident, leaving him to raise Emma alone. Since then, every day had been a struggle: 2 jobs, overdue bills, the constant fear of not being enough. But Emma's smile made it worth it. She was his reason, his anchor, the only thing that kept him moving when everything else seemed impossible. One Saturday afternoon, Alex and Emma ducked into a neighborhood cafe copyright to escape the drizzle. Emma's eyes widened when a tall, elegant woman walked in, her presence instantly commanding attention. She wore a black coat, her hair sleek, her heels clicking softly against the floor. People whispered, stared, and subtly took pictures. "Daddy," Emma whispered, tugging his sleeve. "That's her, the lady from the magazines." Alex followed her gaze and froze. Catherine Hayes, billionaire CEO of Hayes Global. He had seen her face on television, heard her voice in interviews, read her quotes about ambition and leadership. She was the kind of person whose world never intersected with his. And yet, here she was, ordering a black coffee and scanning the cafe copyright for a seat. To Alex's disbelief, she walked straight toward their table. "May I sit here?" she asked. "You are sure," Alex managed. Catherine slid into the seat, poised and composed, yet her eyes looked strangely distant. Emma, never shy, leaned forward. "Are you really a CEO?" Catherine blinked, then allowed a small smile. "Yes." "Wow," Emma said. "So you're, like, super rich?" Alex nearly spilled his coffee. "Emma." But Catherine actually laughed, soft and low. "Something like that." Alex noticed how that laugh, though brief, seemed almost reluctant, as if joy didn't come easily to her. They exchanged a few polite words, and then she left. But something about her lingered in his mind: the way her confidence looked like armor, the way her eyes held loneliness behind the gloss. 2 days later, Alex got a call at the grocery store. A clipped, professional voice said, "Mr. Parker, this is Catherine Hayes' office. She'd like to meet with you." Alex nearly dropped the phone. "Me? Why?" "She'll explain." The next morning, Alex found himself in her skyscraper office, feeling out of place in his worn shirt. Catherine sat behind a vast desk, studying him like she was calculating risks and returns. "I imagine you're wondering why you're here," she said. "That's a broken bar one way to put it." "I need your help," Catherine continued. "My board and the press are pressuring me. Investors think my being unmarried makes me unstable. They want me to appear settled. I need a fiancé copyright, someone convincing, but not from my world. Someone real." Alex frowned. "You want me to pretend to be your fiancé copyright?" "Yes, and in return, I'll ensure your daughter's future. Education, housing, stability. Everything you've been struggling to give her." The words hit Alex like a punch. It sounded insane. But then he thought of Emma, her shy questions about why they didn't have a house with a yard, her quiet acceptance of second-hand clothes, the way she once asked if Santa could bring her a new backpack but said it was okay if he couldn't. Catherine's voice softened. "You won't have to change who you are. In fact, that's the point. You'll just a broken Barbie yourself." Alex wrestled with the decision, but Emma's face was all the answer he needed. He agreed. The transformation happened quickly. Within a week, Alex found himself standing beside Catherine at a charity gala, cameras flashing. He wore a rented suit, his calloused hands awkwardly holding a champagne glass. Catherine, radiant in a silver gown, slipped her arm through his as though it belonged there. The reporters ate it up. "This is Alex Parker," she introduced. "My fiancé copyright." Alex nearly stumbled on the word, but Catherine's grip steadied him. They smiled for photos, their bodies close, and though it was all pretend, He couldn't ignore the warmth of her touch or the way her eyes softened when she glanced at him. Emma was thrilled. "Daddy, you're famous now," she whispered after seeing their picture online. She liked Catherine too, asking endless questions about her office, her company, and her childhood. Catherine, to Alex's surprise, answered patiently. Sometimes, when Emma laughed, Catherine's expression shifted, like she was remembering something long lost. Weeks turned into months. The arrangement grew more complicated. At board dinners, Catherine leaned on Alex, and he found himself admiring her intelligence and strength. At home, Emma grew attached to her, and Catherine began visiting their small apartment, helping Emma with homework, even cooking on though she burned the pasta and laughed at herself. But behind the success, Alex saw the cracks. Late nights when Catherine sat in silence, staring at the skyline, her eyes weary. The weight of carrying an empire alone. The way she flinched when people praised her but never asked how she felt. One evening, after a long gala, Alex found her alone on the balcony of her penthouse, arms folded against the wind. "You don't have to do it all alone," he said quietly. She looked at him, startled. No one ever spoke to her like that. "You think I'm strong," Catherine said. "But I'm terrified. Every day, I wonder if I'll lose everything I built. That's why I hired you. I thought love was just another business tool. But now a broken bar." Her voice faltered. Alex stepped closer. Now, her eyes met his, vulnerable in a way he'd never seen. "Now I'm starting to think I was wrong." Before either of them could say more, Emma burst in, giggling about a silly joke. Catherine smiled, covering her emotions. But Alex knew the truth now. Beneath the billionaire exterior was a woman who longed for love, not strategy. The turning point came when tabloids discovered their engagement was fake. Paparazzi swarmed. Headlines screamed betrayal. Catherine's board was furious. She was told to cut ties immediately before the scandal grew worse. Catherine called Alex to her office. Her mask was back on, but her voice trembled. "It's over. Thank you for everything, but we can't keep this up." Alex felt his chest tighten. "So that's it? We just pretend none of it mattered?" Her eyes glistened. "It wasn't supposed to matter." "But it did." He left, heartbroken. For days, silence stretched between them. Emma asked why Catherine wasn't visiting anymore, and Alex had no answer. But then, at the company's annual press conference, Catherine did something no one expected. Standing before reporters, her career on the line, she said, "Yes, I hired Alex Parker to play a role." But somewhere along the way, it stopped being a role. "He showed me what strength looks like. Not money, not power or love. Real love. And I don't care what anyone thinks. He's the man I love, and I won't apologize for that." The room erupted with counter questions, accusations. But Alex, watching on television with Emma, felt his heart surge. He didn't care about the fallout. He only cared that she had spoken the truth. Hours later, Catherine showed up at his apartment, makeup smudged, exhaustion written on her face. "I might lose everything," she whispered, "but I don't want to lose you." Alex didn't hesitate. He pulled her into his arms, Emma cheering from the couch. And just like that, the fake engagement became real. Not because of contracts or appearances, but because two broken people had found something they thought they'd lost forever. Love. Not the glossy kind in magazines or the strategic kind in boardrooms, but the real kind, the kind that makes even the poorest man rich, the loneliest woman whole, and a little girl believe that families, no matter how unlikely, can be put back together again.